How are you?
Fantastic. I'm glad you could join us. I can see you're in your sound booth, so that's really fun.
Yes, it's also a nice, safe place.
Yeah,
And
another
cool
hot day in New York like it is today. I know you mentioned it's in a very cool area of your home, so that's fantastic too.
Yes.
Great. So thank you so much for coming on today. I know we're going to talk about a lot of fun things, and I thought it was just really interesting since we're both in this realm of kind of sales, marketing, entrepreneurial, owning our businesses on the side, connecting with people and doing things to talk a little bit about how the power of LinkedIn and social media actually happened, that we were able to connect first on a personal level, that we have almost the exact opposite upbringings. That I was raised in Plattsburgh, New York, went to school in SUNY in New Paltz, so outside of the New York City area, went to school there and worked there. And then you were the opposite. You grew up outside of New York City in New Paltz and then came to Plattsburgh, and now we're working at SUNY Plattsburgh. So it was kind of like we flopped our lives, and we're kind of, that's how we initially connected. Like, hey, we've got all the same things, just in reverse order, which is really kind of neat. So I think it just shows up that power of networking on social media. So that was fantastic.
Yeah, these interesting connections. Yeah, and then you happen to be following someone from my hometown. He's really neat guy who's done quite a bit. And so I was like, how do you know? This guy was like a couple years ahead of me from high school. That was so weird. So all those connections helped, and it's been easy, Danielle.
It was a great conversation starter. And
it's also just been easy.
Yeah, and I think actually that's what I was, aside from just even the New Paltz area, Binghamton area connections, we just had a lot of synergies with different mutual connections and started the conversation, which ultimately has led to us working together in a professional capacity. Amelia, you've been fantastic with the voiceover work that you've done for us. And it's funny because you think industrial vacuums and you think, well, what would they need voiceovers for? But from a marketing standpoint, we certainly need them. My voice is probably like nails on a chalkboard to most people, and they don't want to hear it any more than they have to. So between telephone greetings and different marketing things, we just couldn't speak highly enough of you. So I thought, hey, it'd be a really fun guest to have on today to talk through a few things. So great. I guess if you could, introduce yourself a little bit of like, what is a voice actor? I know your title is a voice actor. What does that really mean for people who are just logging in and watching right now?
Yeah. Basically, it's providing the voice overlay on lots of different things, right? So most people think voiceover, they think commercials, right? For Target or whoever, the commercials on TVs, but you also see commercials on YouTube and other places. But actually, a lot of voice actors also get work doing corporate training videos, and a lot of online learning is happening as well. Instead of the instructor talking, you're getting a short, or some of us at different places of work, you need to have, there's mandatory trainings, right? You don't go to one spot and watch the video anymore, right? Everyone sits at their computer and getting that particular training, and there is a voiceover artist doing that. And then, of course, there's gaming and animation and cartoons. I mean, there's just a wide range of different ways so someone who is an actor, but using their voice, they're not on stage and behind the camera, not usually.
I know today's an exception to that, right? So thank you for breaking that general rule of thumb that you're behind the camera. So that said, I mean, what initially drew you to being a voice actor? Or I guess would it actually be voice actress, or would we say voice actor as well? Or?
I'm fine with voice actor either way. Or some people say voice artist.
I know you've got a degree in psychology or background. You do a lot with the university now. Obviously, you work in a professional capacity there. It seems like they're very different worlds. So it's very intriguing, like how you would get into this field of voice acting.
So it's a longer story, and I'll try to make sure it's a brief.
But I'm sure it's a great story. So share away.
As a kid, I always loved music and dance and acting. And actually, that was my first love. I remember like being 7 years old and watching The Music Man and just like, wow, my mind was just blown. It just, really did change my life. And some of us had kind of tough teenage years. Drama club is what pulled me through all those high school awkward, weird years. And same with actually hanging out with exchange students. So I kind of had this interesting path. At senior year in high school, I auditioned and got into a really good musical theater program. Like John Turturro went there. Do you know John Turturro from Big Lebowski? And Brother, We're Out There. We're out there. And even a guy from my orientation group is now a Tony Award-winning Broadway producer. It was really good. But I decided to defer a year and go abroad as an exchange student myself. I was hanging out.
Where did you travel to? I have to ask.
I was a Rotary exchange student to the French-speaking part of Belgium. Actually. So, and I took an acting class when I was there too. It was really cool.
In a different language, a foreign
language? In French. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, in French in Belgium. Came back and started. I mean, met these great, amazing people. Theater program was still amazing, but I already had so many other interests as well. And probably at 19, a lot of insecurities as well to be able to live, breathe, eat theater. Oh, and go to a few frat parties as well, right? So, yeah. So, ended up when finally a degree in psychology, and my life kind of took a different path. And I traveled the world. I got a master's in applied linguistics, teaching English to speakers of other languages, actually. And then fast forward some certain amount of time in my life, right?
Small amount of time. You're still in your 20s, I'm sure, Amelia.
Exactly. Sure. Of course. I had a major medical incident in my life. I think that's a lot of wake up call for people and realize I don't think I want to be sitting behind a computer answering emails all day. That's not really who I am. I need something more. I need to play. I need some art to create. And also a mom of 2 kids, right? As you all know, like you need something as a mom. You need something else. And I kind of stumbled across it, to be honest. And I realized, wait a minute. One of my favorite things to do as a parent is to put my kid to bed and read them stories, right? Because I get to do all the voices. Right. I get to like play and have this dramatic effect on everything that they're reading. And we're probably at the cusp where that soon is going to not happen anymore. But realize I can still get kind of that fix of performing from home as a voice actor. I have my home studio. Right. I don't have to be going to New York City and auditioning and all those other things. That's all that happens. Like it's convenient. It works for me where I can fit it into my schedule. Just this morning, I put in an audition in the morning before, start my day. Or it comes through the night. I'm like, okay, kids are in bed. It's quiet. Dog's asleep. I'm going to do an audition. Like you can fit it in. It's convenient. So I think that's what really it meshed well for me as a voice actor, and still play. And play in my little padded room, as we often say, underneath the stairs, and then fit it into my own schedule.
Awesome. So obviously technology has really played a huge role in making this accessible for you to do from a remote location. I'm sure years ago you had to show up physically and do these auditions, or, you had to like network in different ways. But one of the things I thought was interesting, like when you mentioned some of the medias that you're in, and like the uses for the practical use for voiceover actresses or actors. And you mentioned like the gaming industry and cartoons, and then obviously story reading or corporate trainings. So you've got this wide gamut of things. Like what is like your niche? Like what do you love the most? What do you find most interesting? Like what kind of genre or the medium to work in do you like?
Yeah, good question. I feel like my voice naturally kind of goes toward narration, maybe just because I like to explain things a lot, or I've been in higher education for so many years. And I had been a teacher at one point, one previous life. So corporate narrations, explainer videos, those types of things, medical narration. I think I kind of seem to I'm drawn to those, but I really have fun with the characters when I get an opportunity to do something like that. But I'm open to and explore more with gaming and animation, because that's where you get to really play around and do some crazy fun stuff in your small booth. Yeah.
So I guess like what kind of characters do you like to do the best then? Like what are is it more like fictional characters, or is it like pretending that you're an alter ego, that it's something different? Like what is kind of your go-to?
Yeah. I think, pretending I'm someone else. That's always been fun. I think that's why in high school I went to a small town where everybody knew who you were, and your family and all that knew what you farted in gym class in 4th grade, right? Everyone remembers that, right? Yeah. Yeah, there's one that's British school mom that often comes out sometimes with me like, oh my, that is dreadful. Look at that carpet. You obviously do not have industrial Durovac system at your place, right? There's those kind of ones. Or sometimes I get this funny, I'm like, I don't know, nasally penguin, and how are, I don't know, you need to get that fixed. Better call the sales and parts. I don't know. Sometimes these voices just come out from a wide.
And do you have a hard time ever replicating them? Like you did one and somebody's like, I loved your voice. Could you do that again? But could you say this? Like, is that a challenge for you?
Sometimes, yeah. So I mean, course, I record it.
Right.
So I have a little passion project actually going on, and that is
Tell us more.
yeah, I am recording slowly when I have time, chapter by chapter, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. It's in public domain. It's it's over 100 years. Author is originally from upstate New York as well, so it kind of hits me at my heart. And with all the characters, right? There's lots of different characters here. And I often record myself, what I am doing for that. I mean, right? What am I doing for Dorothy? What am I doing for this witch? What am I doing for the other witch, the scarecrow? And I also try them out with my family sometimes too. Like, do you think that sounds like a munchkin? Well, I need like 3 different munchkins though. They have to, you play around with that.
How can I make the voices change? Sure.
Yeah. So usually my trick is I try to record myself to make sure. I mean, I probably do, but I think for a lot of voice actors, we're a little bit of a perfectionist. We have both ADHD and perfectionism going on. So, yeah, that record myself so I can make sure I can listen to it first to make sure I sound similar to what I did before. Yeah, especially with some kind of long project that I'm doing there that I don't always get a chance to do every single day. I probably should schedule it in. But
so of this passion project, now you've got me intrigued on this. Like, how long do you think it will take you to finish this? Like, do you have a goal in mind? Is this like a 1-year plan, a 3-year plan? By the time you turn 80, like.
That's a real, I don't have a goal, and I probably should, Danielle. Because right now I'm kind of like, oh yeah, I have time to do that. I'm going to do it, but I need to schedule it in. I would love to get that out sooner than later, maybe by the end of the year. But I'm thinking about starting to get a few ahead and then start posting it on my YouTube channel, which I know it's currently pretty dismal at the moment. I will admit that, but that's probably where it'll slowly pop up a few chapters at a time.
Awesome. So what do your children and your family and your friends think of this? Like, is this something that's kind of like, your professional life? I can tell you, speaking from my behalf, they know I sell vacuums. They really don't know what that means. They really don't care too much about it. It's not so big of a deal. It's, it is what it is. But there's not a lot of questions about it. So it doesn't often happen at a party that it's a party trick that I talk about industrial vacuums. I would think something along your lines, maybe something that'd be, is this something that the kids are like, mom, tell Joey this voice or do this for us, or is it something that at this point it's a little cringy still that mom does it, that like it's a fun family thing, but they don't promote it to all their friends and family?
It is fun. I think my kids are kind of pretty cool about that, but usually when like they choose like who's going to read them a book, it does usually happen to be mom.
Yep.
I know with my other friends, they shared my demo, for example, with my friends' kids, and they were like, that's her? What? Like their jaw dropped. They couldn't believe it. So it's kind of fun I think people are surprised, especially I moved up to this area about 10 years ago. For people who know me from my hometown, they're not surprised. I think they knew that about me, or certainly my family are like, yeah, it's about time you got back into that. Right. Like, of course my mother will say, you're good. You're so talented. You need to do that. But you
even could do your mom's voice there. I noticed you changed your tone and inflection when you
did I?
With your mom.
Yeah, I don't know. She's very different, and she's from the southern tier. So the southern tier of New York has a certain accent. What I'm really trying to get, like my husband and his good friend can all do that, the North Country accent very, very well, right? As you well know, there's something very different about that. But yeah, it's something, again, also learning other languages, knowing other languages. So I learned French, and I've had a very unique life. I also was a Peace Corps volunteer, and it's a lot of unique life experiences. And I actually know and speak Portuguese. It's another Latin-based language, so not so difficult than French. But I've always kind of been a language geek, and I think that all really ties in to the acting. And now I can pull all those unique life experiences as well with different projects. I think that's what kind of maturity brings you.
Awesome. So, Amelia, is there anything else you want to share with people on LinkedIn about what you do, or, other uses for your talents, or things that you'd be interested in, or speaking with other people about?
Whatever project needs they may need. I'm an omnivore, really, as you talk about different genres, from whether it's professional phone systems. I often call the doctor's office and I think, ooh, yeah. Okay.
When you're on that continuous loop and just like you're again, like the nails on the chalkboard is like, somebody's got to update this.
I understand you're trying to save some money, but you might be able to up your game a little bit by having someone professional there, just doing your phone service. Any type of commercials I do as well. whatever type of project, they're doing something social media online. I know some things in the works with some other potential clients, but possibly doing, promos for documentary films they're working on, other types of things. I've had a lot of, as I mentioned, I've had a lot of unique background experiences, but this is really my passion. I have a lot of fun with it. I work hard at it. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and you can always email Amelia at alushvoice.com. Find me on LinkedIn, Amelia P. Lushia, my middle initial in there.
Awesome. And what we can do is when we obviously this is live right now, but afterwards on the comments, we can certainly post some links to your website, A Lush Voice, and people can connect with you, or you can always reach out to me and I can connect you with Amelia. So
right. Thanks, Danielle.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Amelia. It was nice chatting with you today.
You as well. Always, Danielle.
All right. Take care. Have a good day.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.